y'all, welcome back. Here is part 2 of assembling your rough cut and getting it ready to go in Adobe Premiere. So in the last video we set up our workspace, we have everything in editing, we imported in all of our videos, and we created a sequence and dropped in our first video, which in my case was the animated logo. We didn't have to do anything to the animated logo because we made sure that it was exported at the right size and the right frames per second. But let's talk about a few things that you might have to edit or change in order to make it work better with this project. So, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to find my icon exercise. In my example here, it is called monogram, which is what the exercise was originally called, but this is the icon. So I'm going to take icon.mov and I'm going to drag it to video layer 1, and I'm going to have it snap, just like that, right to the end of this. So if I use my timeline, scrub it, you can see that play. Now, the issue that I have here, if we take a look here in the program window, is that the icon is too large for the window. So we're going to need to scale it down. If I double click on any clip in my sequence, it will open in the source window. And the source window will allow us to edit specific clips in our sequence. Here I can watch the whole thing, I can decide when it starts and ends, but what I want to do is I want to go here to this tab, Effect Controls. We're not going to do anything too fancy with Effect Controls here. We're just going to set a few keyframes and have everything fit in the frame. So I'm going to go back to frame 1 of my animation. And I'm going to go here to our motion effects and hit this stopwatch next to the word scale. At the moment our scale is set to 100, which is good, but we need it to be smaller. So let's try 75. This is a percentage, by the way. And let's see how that looks. Still a little bit too big. How about 70? It fits, but not quite. Let's do 60. There we go. I'm not too concerned about the fact that the background of my monogram was white while the rest of this is black, because it's just a little demo reel. So if I go back here to my source, nothing has changed in the original clip. But if I watch here, it has been scaled down so that it fits into our frame. Alright, so let's move on to the next one. I'm going to look for my digital flipbook, which I know is short. There it is. I'm going to drag that so that it snaps to the end of my monogram / icon. And there it is. It is a whopping 1 second long. So, obviously, we don't want to show 1 second of animation. So, let's copy this and duplicate it over a few times so that we have 5 seconds of animation. So right here, I'm going to right click on this sequence here, and I'm going to go to copy. Then I'm going to move my playhead to the end here. It will snap against the end there. And I'm going to go to Edit, Paste Insert, which is Control-Shift-V. Control Shift V until I have 5 of those. Now if I go back, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Much better, 5 seconds. That's a good amount of time to loop 1 second animations for. And because it was a perfect loop to begin with, it doesn't look like you're looping it 5 times. It just looks like it's playing for 5 bounces. So that's great. Now I'm going to add in a few more because I do want this to get to 30 seconds. I'm going to use this to zoom out a bit more. And I'm going to scooch this over so I can see a little better. Alright, 4stars.mov. Shouldn't need to do anything to this one. That looks great. I could play it twice, but honestly, it's about 4 seconds long. I think it's fine. Alright, I'm going to grab my complex character rig. And I'm going to show you a neat trick. If you look at this complex character rig example, it actually has a complex character rig and a walk cycle. They are in the same video. But if I wanted to loop this, so if I wanted to copy, Control Shift V, it's going to look like this. Jump, walk, jump, walk, jump, walk. Kind of awkward, not very well paced. So I'm going to select all of these, right click, ripple delete. And what I want to do is I want to edit this clip. So I'm going to double click here. It's going to open in my source window, and here I can play the clip. That's what it looks like. If I want to change where the clip starts and ends, I use these here, the in and the out. That's going to be the out. That's going to be the in. If you've ever edited videos on social media or on your Switch or anything like that, this should seem pretty familiar. You're going to place this where you want it to start, and you're going to place this where you want it to end. So I'm going to look and figure out the frame where it switches to my walk cycle, and I'm going to end it 1 frame earlier. Drag this so that it goes right there, and now it is only going to play just that part. And if I look back down over here, this has gotten smaller. There it is. Alright, so now I can copy, put my playhead right at the end there, Control Shift V to paste, 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 paste. It looked like that because I was zoomed out. And now I have 5 copies of that clip trimmed down so that we can only see the jumping portion. But I still want to show off my walk cycle. So I'm going to go back to my project and I'm going to grab another copy, drop it at the end there. I'm going to double click to open this one, and I'm going to find where the walk cycle starts. And this time I want to start it here and end it here. So I'm going to grab this, drag that over. Now it's trimmed it this way, so I have a big black space here. I want to select that, right click, triple delete. Ripple delete means that it deletes what is there, whether it's empty space or video, and it ripples or rolls everything back so that it goes towards the beginning of the video. So now I have a portion that's just the walk cycle. Copy, Control-Shift-V. Now, made a little bit of a mistake here. Those look great, but something's amiss. That is because I pasted in the middle of this clip. You remember, it's paste insert, which means that wherever you have this is where it's going to paste. So if I paste it, it's going to paste it right there. It's going to overlap the rest of that clip and put it right in there. We don't want that. I'm going to make sure that this is at the end. Control-Shift-V, V, V, V. Got a teeny tiny little bit of empty space there. Select, right click, all right, looks good. Let's add one more thing in. We're so close to our 30-second mark. I'm going to find my longest clip, which is going to be my sunshine, which is 5 seconds. And I'm going to drop it in there. And that brings me right to 30 seconds. Right to 30 seconds. So, if I zoom back out, scroll back over, I can now watch my entire rough cut. Okay, so remember, for your rough cut, you don't need to do any fancy editing. We're just throwing the videos in there so that they will show up properly and go in the right order and hit our 30-second mark. And remember, 30 seconds is the minimum, so if you want to add something else, you totally can. Alright, in the last part, we are going to be going over how to make our title and end cards, and then we're going to talk about exporting it. So, see you next time.